And I did not mean to record it to the cloud, so I'll have to deal with that when I get finished. Okay, good. So, Michael, best thing you've seen happen in your business in the last week?
So let's see. So I've signed the documents, the credit application, and all the applications for the lease on the van. So in the process, hopefully.
Leave to the office. Leave to the office.
And the office is coming. They're sending me the documentation. They put me in contact with the property manager I need to speak with, and I'm waiting on the documentation on that, and I'll sign it immediately, and then that'll be done too. So knocking these two things out, and hopefully the credit thing comes back soon, and then I'll get the lease, and I can coordinate with Bruce and get up there and just get the samples and the van all in one fell swoop. So
Yep.
that'll be good.
It's
Good to
fun.
get off my shoulders there.
Nice. Ashley, how about for you?
I had a second real customer appointment yesterday.
Nice.
So I feel a little bit like I'm faking it till I make it, but I think it went well. I handled some objections that I didn't realize I knew the answers to, and it was carpet, which still scares me a little bit, but I feel like I at least was able to present it properly, and I knew the FABs for all the stuff, and yeah, so we'll see. Proposal was a little high, they said, but they appreciated, the customer presentation and everything. So I'll keep you posted, but that was probably my big win for the last week or so.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want us to take a look at the proposals that you've sent. Because this is a smaller class, I can get away with sort of doing these live, and I think that's good. So John Connolly, that's the real customer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here we've got a real, that's good. John was Stephanie's professor. Good stuff. Here we go. So I go into the project number and we look at the options. So which one do you like best? Or which one do you think they're leaning towards?
They're leaning towards the Greenwich one, that top one.
Okay, so let's just take a look. We're going to remove and haul away existing carpet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this number is right, that's a really, really good number. 50 cents a square yard to remove carpet feels really, really low to me.
Oh, right. Okay, that's what I was thinking too. It automatically, the local list I have that auto-populated was like 35 cents or something. That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't think, I would have expected, in my area, I'm expecting to see about $1.
Okay.
So now the good news is that this isn't, whether it's $73 or $173, it's not like that's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
So if you completely missed on this, then it's not going to kill you. It's just you're not going to make what you thought you were going to make.
Right.
You've got a furniture move with a piano. Okay, so I like this. This tells me that you figured out how to change the text, which is good. And you've got a unit cost. What are we doing? We've got 2. At 50.
They have a big bed and a piano. And so I figured it was 2 items that were like considered heavy items. But I didn't want to confuse them by putting heavy furniture move. So I just changed it to furniture move, including the piano, because we talked about that the piano is going to be its own little tricky thing.
Oh, I see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm looking at this backwards. No, what I was looking at is you've got 2 items and you've got $50 per item, but then That's your cost. $50 is your
Right.
cost, but you're only charging a 37% margin on that.
Right.
Why 37? What's magic about that number? It seems like a very specific number.
I was trying to find a happy medium. So my kind of thought process was they got some sticker shock when I originally showed them the proposal, and I had a flat margin of, I think, 50 on everything, or 45 maybe it was. And if I do this job, if I end up landing the job and then installing it within the next 2 to 3 weeks before we actually have a license number, I'm going to have to do what I did with the last job and have somebody else do the install.
Right.
So I double checked the numbers that I was getting from the carpet installer I was referred, and he charges a lot less than I probably would charge. So I figured I could kind of whittle down the price a little bit by downgrading the margin on the labor. So that was my
Okay.
thought process.
So here's what I'll say about that. You had a conscious decision about what you were doing with it. It
Mhm.
wasn't just, oh, well, let me slap 37. So whether that ends up being right or wrong, you have something that you can go back to and say, okay, this was a good decision and that logic tracked, or you can go back and say, no, that really wasn't good, and I can go back to my assumptions and figure out what I can change later. Because it was a conscious decision, great. It's the unconscious ones that I have a hard time with, because then it's like, well, I don't know, we just did it. Okay, good. All right, so you've got Charity and you've got Greenwich Gravity, and you chose not to run the seaming diagram, which is fine.
Yeah,
I know that because that's perfectly fine. This tells me that you've got an 18% waste factor, which is the default waste for carpet for a smaller job, and this is a quote unquote smaller job. So no problem with that. You're going to be fine on that. Let's just take a look at your drawing. Yeah, these are just square rooms, and there's nothing funny here.
Nope.
So when Scott Brown comes on from StairTech, I will seam this and just verify that you're okay with 18. But my guess, just looking at this drawing, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't end up with something around the 15, 16% anyway. So you're probably gonna pick up a point or two when it comes to actual seaming. So as I've said before, you've got this part down. There's no question in my mind. You could go out, and if he says, "Oh, you're too expensive," well, it's only two things that it could be. One is maybe the competition isn't offering something as nice as Charity. Maybe they're just offering an 8-pound pad, or maybe they're offering even a 6-pound pad, right? Because you could get a cheaper pad. You could get a pad that was maybe half this cost if you went with just a 6-pound pad.
Right.
So, yep. So there could be $400 worth of savings to the customer on that. And then depending on what somebody else shows them in terms of carpet. Now, this is not a terribly expensive carpet, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I suspect that this is a really, really competitive price.
I hope so.
Yeah, I suspect it is. All right,
Okay.
Michael, did you? I know you have one that's coming up tomorrow, but did you have one that I haven't given you feedback on yet?
I don't think so. Maybe.
All right, well, Roland, I know you've got an LVP and hardwood one that I haven't looked at yet.
I have just an LVP one and then one that was both.
Justin LVP. What's the customer name?
Mike Layden. It was just Mike. MIKE LAYDEN.
All right, so we're gonna remove, what are we removing? Nothing. This is when you said that it's basically, there's nothing there anyway. So we're starting from scratch, right?
Yeah, he has a room in his basement that he framed. It's bare concrete floor. He's a landscaper, so he started doing it in the winter, and he said he'll get back to it in December. So maybe it'll be a job in December.
Maybe so. All right. All right, so that being the case, what do you guys see here? So this is a room that doesn't really exist yet, right? He's got it framed up, it's on bare concrete, and we're gonna do a floated vinyl floor. Is there anything you guys see that's missing or something that maybe you don't need? What do you guys see in this?
Is that freight high?
I included any
Um,
underlay, any vapor barrier. I just juiced that one number to include it because I couldn't find where the plastic sheeting was.
Good. Well, and this is, honestly, that's not bad because, I mean, hard surface is gonna be a drop charge. And it's gonna be somewhere between $100 and $125. So the fact that you've got this one sitting at 125 and yeah, I can go buy a roll of plastic for that too, good. There's no problem with that whatsoever. So actually, I'm a big fan of this freight number. I think that's about right.
Okay.
I like the fact that you're putting this down from scratch. So there's no quarter round, you're just gonna put up new baseboards, right? So this is a brand new room, let's put up new baseboards. What looks funny on the sheet is there's no existing baseboards to remove.
That the one, I think, is there an option for just installing new? There was one of the things I don't know. It looked like there was no option for new.
I think there is an option for installing new baseboards. I think there is. If there's not though, what I would encourage you to do is maybe you do pick this line, but then hit the pencil and change the text and just delete,
Oh, you can
delete
change
that.
text?
Yep. If you click on the
Oh.
pencil, when you click on the
Oh.
pencil, everything that becomes underlined, you can change. And the text is one of those things that you can change. Now you can't change it in your price list because that's in the special mobile accessories and labor price
But
list,
it'll change
only
it in
with
the,
that proposal, you can change it on the proposal.
oh, cool. Okay.
This is a solid proposal though. This is maybe a little confusing for the customer, this remove existing business, but that's a minor thing to change. Once again, this is a really solid proposal. What would possibly keep you from being competitive? And I mean, I told you to use a PG3, so you did exactly what I said. But you've got $2,200 worth of material here, and your competition might show up with what we would consider a PG1 LVP. So that's why we do options. You've got one option that's at a PG3, maybe you've got another option at a PG1. And that way you've got different options and different price points to be able to show the customer.
So that's a good segue into a question I have, considering that I did the comparison shopping at Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with their most expensive laminate option,
Okay.
which was a Pergo. I don't know. I have it. It was like $3.29 a foot or something. How does that compare to a PG system that we would use? Like, what would because when I did it, I just said, all right, let's do their high-end thing and then let's throw a PG4 in just to see. When I did the comparison, we came out at way more money.
Yep.
Than
So
they did.
typically your Lowe's and Home Depots are going to be what we would consider PG1s and PG2s. They can get higher than that, but they don't really show higher than that. You can get it, but where they make money over and over and over again is by sticking to the stuff that they can advertise at a really low price, even if it's not a great quality product.
they called it Pergo Gold waterproof laminate. And they call it, I was cracking up, was two things that you've talked about that they did. They call it laminate wood. And everywhere the Stainmaster signs are already on everything.
That's right. Yeah. So let's see, there's 300 results. Let's see if I can.
I could give you a model number if that helps, or item number. Can you search by those?
I want to sort, yeah, I can do that. I want to sort it from the most expensive. Let's just take a look at the most expensive thing that
It
they
was
have. To offer.
TC Antique Barnwood was what it was called.
What is it?
TC Antique Barnwood. It's a 12 millimeter thickness. Pergo Timbercraft waterproof laminate.
Yeah, here we go. Look at this. We are ready to rock and roll now. Timbercraft, wet protect antique barnwood, 12 millimeters thick. Okay. So let's see what this is all about. Do we have any specs in here? Not bad. An AC4 rating is not bad. So this is going to end up being like a PG3. Okay. So it's not a bad product. I'm curious, since they call this waterproof. Yeah, they've got it listed here as waterproof. Let's just, for fun, see what their warranty looks like. If I can find it. Let's see, it says limited lifetime, but where's the actual document? Well, we're not going to be able to get it. Yeah, something to search another time. It's always fun to go back to the actual, like the Pergo documents. And Pergo is just a brand name. It used to, it's like, you know, it's like Stainmaster. It used to mean something, but it doesn't mean anything anymore. But I would say this is probably a high PG2, low PG3 type laminate is where this would probably fall.
So we're about $1,000. They were at about 1,900. Now that's a number. It's very interesting the way they do it. So they say, well, our installation cost starts at $3 a square foot. And it includes removal of this and prep of that and quarter round installation, all this other stuff. But we need to send someone out to your house to measure in order to confirm that number. So what we're going to give you, what we could give you now is just an estimate based on the $3 a foot.
Yep.
So that's kind of what they did. And they came in at 1,900. And if I put a PG3 into our tab, we come in at 29.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if they don't find another $1,000 somewhere. Or more. So, all right, good. Let's see. Ashley, I know you had another LVP one, right?
Hey, Arlen, I have a quick question. Sorry, Ashley.
Yeah.
This is for my own education as well. So as Roland has built this proposal, and it's a pretty standard proposal for, it's clean space, right over concrete, all the things that would be necessary. Is this a good idea to build a bomb kit out of something like this, where it's kind of just a nice, tidy thing that he could have and go refer to in the future and then add and subtract as necessary, since it's pretty cut and dry?
You don't need a bomb kit. So
Okay.
a little something about bomb kits. Bomb kits are a way of creating a bill of materials that you can pull into the tablet for things. So I got to give you the 30-second, 45-second history of what bomb kits are and why they were even conceived of. If I go back years and years ago, before the tablet had the estimating software in it, the way that estimates were done is they were done using the old version of InspireNet on a laptop. As a matter of fact, I used to carry this very laptop around with me in a home and draw stuff into Measure Square and then do an estimate. But when you did the estimates in InspireNet, you had to think about every possible thing. So you had to think, I've got to remove carpet, I've got to move furniture, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And you had to pull those line items in one by one by one by one. Well, that was obviously very tedious. And so InspireNet had a way of creating what's called a bomb kit. So like if I'm going to remove carpet and put carpet in, these are the normal things that I'm going to have. And so you put that together in a bomb kit. And so instead of having to type every one of those lines one by one, I could just pull in the carpet in, carpet out bomb kit. Or I'm taking carpet out and I'm putting hardwood in. Or I'm taking carpet out and I'm putting LVP in. And so it allowed me to build this bomb kit. Well, that was great. So when the estimating software was put in the tablet, you don't need bomb kits anymore because you tell the tablet, this is what I'm taking out, this is what I'm putting in, and the tablet builds all this stuff for you. So the only people that really use bomb kits are legacy owners that, you know what, they just can't seem to get rid of the old way of doing things. And so they still want to pull in bomb kits. And so they'll use, now a bomb kit could be very useful for something like, I'm going to do complicated things like showers, or maybe even stairs. We're going to talk about stairs in just a minute. So it might be that I use a bomb kit for stairs, but I don't necessarily need it. It's a question of how, is that something that I want to use? And normally what you see is, you see bomb kits used by legacy owners, or you'll see bomb kits used by newer owners that have talked to legacy owners, where a legacy owner says, well, you really need to use a bomb kit. And they start using a bomb kit until they realize, well, that's a whole lot more complicated than what I was doing before. And then they end up not using them.
I saw the tab down here on Salesforce, and I knew that, you know, it's sort of a little bit disjointed with, you know, the Inspire tablet. So I was just curious.
Yep. All right. Good. So Ashley, what was the other one that you had?
It was an LVP hardwood. Customer name was Bob Murphy.
Give me that name again.
Bob, last name Murphy. M-U-R. Yep, P-H.
Bob Murphy. This is fun. All right, so we'll take a look at option one here. So what is my subfloor here? It must be a plywood or an OSB subfloor, right?
Yeah, OSB.
Okay. All right, guys, what do you see before I dive in? What do you guys see that you like, that you don't like? Questions?
Well, removal and Holloway is too cheap again, because that was so
That's
it's
low.
there. I need to update my prices.
Yeah, that's low. And your freight may be low, only because when I look at this $163, if you're paying $100 or $125, then then what you have here is you really don't have a 45% margin. You actually have something much lower than that. So I always look for hard surface freight to be somewhere around the $200 range is kind of what I'm looking for in terms of a price.
Is carpet not drop shipped,
Oh,
Harlan?
sorry. Yeah, but this is, no, carpet is not drop ship. Carpet is per square yard.
Per
Hard
square yard.
surface is drop ship,
Okay.
is a drop
That's
ship. Okay. All right. This is another good proposal. I mean, once again, this is not, you know, I'm looking for big things that have been missed or big things that that you don't need. This is a good proposal. So you might be a little light on the removal and haul away. You might be a little light on the freight. But overall, this is a really good proposal. It's one that if you flip this price, assuming you got the product right, then you should land this sale. All right, good. Let's keep on trucking. Keep working through those, and it's nothing but practice. All right, so today we're going to spend some time talking about stairs. I want to talk a little bit about pricing hardwood stairs. I want to talk about what does it look like for you, what are the details that are involved, and specifically, what does it do in the tablet when you start talking about stairs, okay? So when we're talking about stairs, just some basic terminology here, basic terminology. When you go all the way back to when stairs were constructed, so this is, you know, an empty house being built. These sawtooth looking pieces of wood here, those are what are called stringers. Now, unfortunately, in the world of construction, there are other things called stringers too, but specifically these are stringers. They look like little saw teeth, and this is what stairs are going to get built on top of. Now, the good news for you as a Floor Coverings International person, you're never going to have to install stringers. This is general contractor. This is builder stuff. I just want you to know what's underneath the stairs. So normally what happens from there is that the builder is going to put treads and risers on the stairs. Now, yes, there's other kind of funky stairs out there. There's floating steps and all kinds of weird things, but let's just keep things simple to start with. So you've got your stair tread, which is the part that you walk on, and you've got the stair riser, which is the vertical piece, okay? I haven't lost anybody yet, right? I'm just checking, okay? Because for whatever reason, people seem to think that stairs are really complicated, and they really aren't. You might have a landing. So in this case, you've almost got like a double landing, because you've got a landing here and then another landing there, and then it goes back upstairs on the other side. When you're looking at a set of stairs, you might have a staircase like this, where the stair tread, okay, on this one, I look and I can see the edge of that stair tread. I look at this and I cannot see the end. I can't see the edge of that staircase. So this is what we call a boxed staircase. Boxed means that both sides could be unfinished and you never see that, right? So this is a boxed staircase. Now, looking from the bottom up, we would consider this is a left return staircase. Why do we call it left? Well, if I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs and looking up, it's the left side that has to have what's called a return. And a return basically means that the stair, the finished edge goes down that side piece, okay? So it's closed on one side, and sorry, there's that word stringer again, just because that's the way vocabulary works. Sometimes the same word gets used for multiple things. You've got tread at the top, you've got riser as your vertical piece, you've got a sort of a trim piece, a stringer over here, and on this side, it's open. In the tablet, we call that upholstered on one side. Now, the reason we call it upholstered on one side is because if you could imagine there being, you know, a handrail here and the balusters that are going down, you've got your, you know, the vertical balusters. If you were going to do carpet on this, you would have to upholster the carpet around each one of those, right? It would have to go around each one of those little posts. And so we call it upholstered on one side. You'll hear people call it a left return. Same thing on the other side. Now it's just a right return. So it's upholstered on one side. It just happens to be on the right side. And then we've got something called upholstered on both sides. So if you were doing carpet and you were upholstering on both sides, if you're the installer, is that more difficult than doing it box? Yeah, of course, right? Because I mean, you're having to work around each one of those stupid little spindles. This is what typical construction looks like. And, you know, again, you're not dealing with this. This is a mess. You don't walk into this. You walk into stairs that are open where you might, you know, you'll see the actual tread. So I want to go into the tablet now, and I want to show you what happens when you are doing stairs. And this is where you got to get a little bit creative with your price list. So let me switch over to the tablet. All right, so I'm going to go into InspireNet, and I'm going to create a new training task, and I'm just going to very, very quickly draw a couple of rooms here. And I'm going to draw a fast room. That's good, and this can be a small bedroom with a door in place if I want to. And then I'm going to do a staircase. So when I do this staircase, I'm going to hit the button at the bottom that says stairs. I hit the button at the bottom that says stairs, and I touch the screen. So I don't really draw the stairs. I'm just giving it the data. So you'll notice at the top it says the stairs name. So I can change that name if I want to, or I could just leave it as stairs 1. How many stairs is it? So I can literally walk up the stairs and count. Maybe there's 14 stairs in this one. What is the width? So if I'm going to measure the staircase, I can measure the staircase, and maybe it's 4 feet wide. Maybe this one's 3 feet, 10 inches wide. Risers and tread. Now, one thing I'm going to caution you here. What do you see in the dimensions for the riser here?
Seven inches.
Yep, it's 7 inches. So remember, in the tablet, every time you see 2 boxes, the first box is feet and the second box is inches. I have seen people come in here and they measure a riser and they're like, ooh, this riser is actually, it's 8 inches. I need to change that. Well, frankly, I don't even measure tread and risers. I just normally take the default, but that's okay if you want to change it to 8. But then I'll see them come in and put the 8 here. So what does that mean?
It's a really big stair.
Some
Yeah,
long legs.
those are long legs. Okay, those are long legs. So be careful not to make that mistake. I'm going to leave it at 7 inches. And then down here at the bottom, I've got 6 choices. I've got 6 buttons that I can choose from. So there's straight stairs and there's turned stairs. What does turned stairs mean?
That there's a radius in the stairs.
Right, that there's a radius in the stairs. Okay, that's different than stairs go up, there's a landing, and maybe then I have to turn 90 degrees and I go up the rest of the steps, right? This word turned means that there's an actual curve. There's a radius to the stairs. So imagine the stairs have like a pie-shaped look. All right, well, most of the stairs that you're going to deal with are going to be straight. They might be boxed. They might be single upholstered, they might be double upholstered, but most of the time, the stairs that you're going to deal with are going to be straight. Turned, you know, gone with the wind. You've got a curved staircase. And of course, you can add a photo here. Well, what if I have a landing? Okay, no problem. I can create a little room, we can make this a little 4 foot by 4 foot room. And when we confirm that, we can call that a landing. And so now I've got a room, I've got a bedroom, I've got a staircase, and I've got a landing. All right, so let's put hardwood in all three of these. So the first thing I'm going to do, bedroom and landing, I'm going to say, let's just say that there's carpet there now. And now I'm going to move on to creating my proposal. So I can't select the stairs and a room at the same time. The tablet doesn't allow it because the tablet doesn't allow you to pick two rooms that have a different subfloor at the same time. It's not a problem. I can put them both on the same option. I just have to do them separately. So I'm going to do the landing and I'm going to do the bedroom. I'm going to do those two rooms to start with. And so I'm going to hit my set install button. My product type is going to be hardwood. And for the fun of it, I'm just going to say that we're going to do a PG3 hardwood. Select that sucker, and that's good. And now when I look, if I hit complete option, I can go in and I can look at this, but I don't have the stairs in it yet. So how do I add the stairs to this option? Well, I'm still on option 1. So all I have to do is click the stairs and now hit set install. So this is how I'm just going to add it to this option. So now I'm going to hit set install info. Now notice when I'm on the stairs, product type. What are my options?
Carpet, sand and finish, and hardwood.
That's it. Those are the only 3 options that I have in the tablet. Well, what if I wanted to do luxury vinyl planks on a stairs? Or what if I want to do laminate on the stairs? What if I wanted to do something else? The tablet currently only supports these 3. So that means I would have to go in and make some, I'd have to do some funny business on the back end. For the moment, let's just say hardwood. So I'm going to click on hardwood. Now notice, install type. Well, I don't get an option there. Pattern type, there's no menu there. How about underlayment? There's nothing there. How about subfloor work to do? Nothing there. Trim work to do? Nothing there. So the only thing that the tablet tells me is I'm doing hardwood. That's it. So I hit the check mark. And for the stairs, I only get 3 lines that are going to get imported over to my proposal. I'm going to get 1 line that says hard surface freight, 1 line that's the install. In this case, I picked box straight, so I'm going to get box stair wood install. And then I'm going to get a 3rd option that says oak stair treads. That's it. So if I hit that button and now I hit complete option, I've got my first section that talks about the landing in the bedroom. I want to get down to the stairs section. So when I look at this stairs section, I've got freight, install, and oak stair treads. Anything missing?
I guess
What
this
do you think?
assumes you're not doing anything with the risers.
Okay, but I know that when I replace the treads, I'm going to have to replace the riser. So this is what I'm going to coach you to do. And that is to take whatever your cost is for doing a stair. So what is my cost for doing a stair? I need a retread that's going to go on top of the stair. I need a riser. If I'm going to need trim, if I'm going to include the cost of the glue, whatever else. And I'm going to go into my price list, and under the line item that says oak stair treads, I want to include the cost for all that stuff. And that way, when I build out a staircase, I don't need a bomb kit. I don't need additional labor lines. I don't need all that extra stuff. I just know that under the words oak stair treads, that actually represents everything that I need, all the material that I need in order to do a step. So Roland here, I'm going to change the text here. So if I click on this little pencil, you'll notice that now the words oak stair treads are underlined. So I don't really want it to say oak stair treads. It might be that I say material per stair. I don't know. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be $40. It's going to be closer to $90. And hit my check mark. All right, so now that makes more sense because now that tells me that I need a tread, I need a riser, or I could even change it and say that. I could say tread instead of material per stair. Maybe I put tread and riser per step. And when I hit the little check mark, okay, good. So now that makes a little more sense to me because all I'm really doing is I'm saying I need $90 worth of cost to be able to cover my cost of installing the staircase.
And this is a modification we have to do every time we do stairs, right? It doesn't save.
Or you're just happy with the fact that it says oak stair tread and you don't worry about it.
So we could change the price at one time, but the title is going to revert back to whatever's in the system.
That's correct. Yep. So absolutely, you're going to want to go into your price list manager and make sure that you have a cost in there that makes sense for a stair and a riser. And then you decide, do you want to change the text on the proposal, or are you just happy telling the customer, yeah, it says tread, but that's going to be the material to do all the stairs, whatever. All right. Well, the tablet doesn't support LVP treads. How am I going to do that? I'm going to pull in an oak stair tread. I'm going to hit the pencil. And I'm going to change this, and it's going to say LVP tread with, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along. Good. So now I'm going to say I'm doing an LVP tread with white risers. If that's a thing, if that's the way we want to do it. So you've got the ability to just, whatever your cost is, put your cost in the price list manager. And okay, well, every stair is different. That's true, but you're going to find that when you're buying stairs, you don't buy the stair down to the exact dimension for the stair. Retreads are sold in 6-inch increments. So you could buy a 36-inch tread, you could buy a 42-inch tread, you could buy a 48-inch tread. Your installer is going to cut it to fit the actual staircase. So if you say, you know what, most of the staircases, when I walk through this area, most of the staircases in this area are going to be something less than 42 inches. I'm going to build my price list on a 42-inch staircase. And that means every time I walk into a house, if they're wanting to do stairs and the stairs are 42 inches wide or less for a typical box staircase, that's what I'm going to build my price list on. So I can build the price right there from the tablet. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to make this confusing. I'm actually trying to make this easy, but sometimes it doesn't come across that way. Okay.
So you changed it from, I guess, the hardwood to the LVP, and then we would need to figure out what the price difference from those are and then put that into the cost or to the unit price.
Yeah,
and then would we just do that, right? We would just figure that out, right there.
Right. All right. So I want to show you this. Let's switch to the other screen here. This is a video, it's an old video, but this is a video that was done by StairTech. to show people, I'm not gonna share the sound. I'll do some narrating myself, and we're not gonna spend 6 minutes looking at this. I'm gonna fast forward through some of it. But you'll notice, first of all, what type of staircase is this? If you were in somebody's home and you were gonna estimate this staircase, what would you call this?
Box.
Yeah,
Box staircase.
box. It's a box straight staircase, right? So pretty straightforward. And I don't have a tape measure on it, but just looking at it, I'd say it's less than 42 inches wide. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. So your installer is going to come in, and the first thing they're going to do is they're going to rip all the carpet off of the staircase, and they're going to rip whatever tack strips. They're going to take all the staples out, and they're going to get this down to where it's a nice smooth tread. And you'll note this is pretty typical, although today you would probably see more OSB. Normally, when you pull carpet off the stairs, you're going to find either just like this is a pine stair tread, or you're going to find like an OSB stair tread and an OSB or pine riser. Because when the builder built the home, they knew they were going to put carpet on it, so they could just use a piece of OSB. They didn't have to do anything fancy. All right, that's fine. You're going to cover both of those things anyway. So he's showing the very bottom stair. That's great. I'm going to skip ahead here. And what's going to happen is when he puts a new, so this outline is where that new retread is going to go. So you'll see in this animation, the new retread is going to sit like this, and it's just going to hang over the front lip of the old stair, which means the new stair is going to have to be, the new riser is going to have to be spaced out. So they'll use a couple of furring strips to space this out and then put the new riser board so that the new riser board essentially lines up with where the lip was of the old stair tread. Okay, a lot of details. So here's his little, spacer strip. No problem. He puts a couple of spacer strips on this first tread. Skip ahead here a little bit. You'll see him put the second one up there. No problem with that. And then he's going to use this little gizmo to measure the actual stairs. Yeah, top, back, that's good. So I have never been in a house where the stairs were parallel or the same size. I've never seen a straight wall. I've never seen a wall that was plumb. So even though things are supposed to be at 90-degree angles, they're not. So this little tool that StairTech, you can buy it from StairTech. There's other ones that are out there. But I would recommend that your installer uses something like that. So then that way he can go out to his saw and he can rip it according to the right length. And then he can use this and simply transfer the marks that he measured from the wall. Boom, there you go. Once he cuts that, yep, let's cut that. Good stuff. And go back and install it. So normally, and I mean, this is the case, he's using a urethane-based glue to go right over top of those, right where those spacer boards are going to be. And when he puts that urethane-based glue on and slides this riser into place, he'll likely go back with just a little brad nailer to nail it in place. And those nails are only there to help hold it in place until the glue dries. The nails are not really holding it in place. It's just sort of holding it there long enough for the glue to dry. So now he's got a new riser board. Let me back up just a second. He's got this new riser board that's here. And I know it's hard to see on a fuzzy video, but that riser board is now at the front end of that nose. So he's going to use the same tool again, measure out, figure out exactly what he's got in terms of the stair tread, go out to his saw, cut the depth, and then also mark and cut. And see, this is what you're buying stair treads that are pre-finished, but they're a little bit bigger than what you need. And that way he can cut that right on the line, and he can put it in place. Once again, he's gonna glue this down with a urethane-based glue. You never want to use a water-based glue on stairs. They will cup, nasty looking. And then once he gets his glue down, and he sets this stair on top of the original stair, it's been cut to fit. It's going to drop right in place where he wants it to be. The glue is what's going to hold it in place, but they'll typically nail right along the back edge of the stair. I don't think it, yeah, it does show him. Shows him nailing the back edge of the stair. And the reason he does it in the back edge, one, it's just holding it there long enough for him to be able to you know, he's got to keep working. So he's going to be on, his weight's going to be on the stair, but those nails are just to hold it in place long enough for him to, for the glue to dry. Questions about this process? It's really not that complicated. Now, the complicated part, it's not complicated, but the thing that tends to trip people up is the tablet doesn't say anything about risers. It doesn't say anything about glue. It doesn't, I want you to think of that one line that says oak stair treads. It's a placeholder. That's it. It's just a placeholder to be able to capture all the costs that you need for doing one step. Ashley, I saw you come off of mute. Was there a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question before the Stair Tech people join us.
Mhm.
I did a warehouse tour with our Shaw reps down here. And is there a reason why we would use Stair Tech in lieu of just getting the stairs, the stair treads that go along with whatever floors we're buying from Shaw?
Yeah, because Shaw doesn't do stair treads. Shaw does stair treads for luxury vinyl plank, but they don't do stair treads for hardwood.
Okay.
So if you're buying a luxury vinyl plank floor from Shaw, Shaw makes these wonderful treads with a Z. And it's a similar process. So here's the Shaw treads, is what they call them. And if I were getting a luxury vinyl plank floor from Shaw, I would buy the treads from Shaw.
Okay.
But AHF, which is who does a lot of your hardwood, and Shaw, which does a lot of your hardwood, neither one of them make hardwood stair treads. So you have an option. I mean, you don't have to use Stair Tech. There's other companies. Like there's a company called Artistic Moldings or Artistic Finishes. What are they called? Artistic Finishes. All right. This is another company that's out there, and they make stair treads, they make vents, they make custom moldings. So you could go out to a company like this, Artistic Finishes, and you could buy stair treads from them. It doesn't have to be Stair Tech. You could just get bare wood and hand bare wood to your installer and say, here, good luck. See if you can match this. I mean, they might be able to match it. They might not, but that's an option. The nice thing about Stair Tech is that with Stair Tech, they already have a large, well, I'll go into order my stairs. They already have a large database of colors, and most of the stuff that you have in the van, they've already seen. So like if you go in and say, I'm going to start a quote and I want to do a pre-finished staircase, and the first question that you get asked is, what is your floor? Well, I mean, this is one that I've been playing with, but this Shaw Three Rivers, I mean, that's your Hamlin Hickory board. So they already have it. But even if you don't have the Shaw name for it, a lot of times if you just enter the color, and I'm trying to think of a color other than Three Rivers, and I can't think of one right now. One of the colors off the boards. I don't know. Collection. I think that Meridian is actually listed as a collection for them. Well, it's not, but Meander Oak is. All right, so Meander Oak is one of our boards. That's a private label name. So you've got Meander Oak and you've got all the different colors here. So Coffee Bean is a color. Meander Oak is our private label name. It's made by Shaw, but this is our private label name. So anyway, the beautiful thing about going with somebody like a StairTech is that they already know what these colors are. And so you're not having to guess at what that looks like.
Got it.
But to your point, Ashley, if I was getting a luxury vinyl plank from Cali does stair treads. If I'm going to do an LVP stair tread to match the floor, I'm going to buy the LVP stair tread from the company that made the floor.
Okay. I wasn't sure if StairTech was better for something.
The two I'm going to go to.
I had one more question too, just kind of in general. I know when we generate the proposal that's customer facing, at least the default view just has a total. Is there a downside? I can think of some, but would you be vehemently against showing the customer an itemized proposal that shows a total by line item? If they want to know, like, how much is the stair going to be? I mean, would you not to do that?
Specifically on stairs, okay, so let's say I'm using StairTech. Your Order My Stairs platform from StairTech it's intended for you to be able to do it in front of the customer. So it already has a 50-point gross margin built into it. So
Okay.
like when you look at the price on Order My Stairs and it says $70, you're not paying 70, you're paying 35.
Okay.
The idea is that you could actually sit down with the customer in front of Order My Stairs and you could build the staircase in front of the customer. And then when they see, oh my God, it's $2,000. Well, yeah, it is. It's $2,000 plus whatever the labor is to it, right? But you know in the back of your mind that your cost is actually half of that.
Right. Okay. So when you generate the proposal and they actually have a copy of it in their hand, would you be okay if that 2,000 was noted on that specific line item along with the other itemized?
You can do it. I'm not
total?
a huge fan of giving the customer an itemized list because then all of a sudden you get nitpicked because of the cost of quarter round or something stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of doing that, but specifically around stairs, I would have no problem with letting them see me pull up Order My Stairs and price it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to let these guys in. And then I'm going to let them take over and rock and roll through the stair piece. All right, so I see that our friends from StairTech have joined. If you guys want to open up your camera. Working on it. So I see Jay Benford, and I'm reminded of Benford Tools, and it goes back a ways. And trying to work through the details there. By the way, guys, as I don't know if Scott is the one that's going to do the presentation today or if it's going to be one of the other guys at StairTech. If you don't already have your StairTech account, I would encourage you to go ahead and get it set up. Scott can help you with that, or Kumar, or one of the other guys can help you with that. But utilize them as a resource. They're really, really good at what they do. And, you know, again, you don't have to order from them. It's just, this is intended to make stairs easy so that you're not having to, you know, dig through all this stuff over and over again. Let's see. All right, have we got you guys now? Let's see. Have we got the guys from StairTech? Let them work through details here, details. Let's see, are you guys there? Getting set up? All right, I'm going to let them continue to work through that. I will show you while we're on the subject. I'm going to show you a couple of websites that StairTech has, and I'm going to keep watching the screen here. When you guys are able to jump on with cameras and everything, just let me know. All right, so StairTech has two websites. One is what I call a customer-facing, this is their retail website, stairtech.com. Right. So stairtech.com is a great tool for you to be able to show, there's nothing, this is a public website, so there's nothing proprietary about this, but this is a great place to be able to take your customer and show them, what different things look like, what different things mean. Stair Parts, I love this part of their website because it allows you to kind of walk somebody through, this is what a tread looks like, this is what a return tread looks like, this is what their retreads look like. A tread is a solid 1-inch standard thickness. A retread, on the other hand, is only 5/8 of an inch. So you would never build a staircase from scratch using retreads. It's not thick enough. But for what you're doing in remodeling stairs, pulling carpet off the stairs and putting hardwood in, a retread works perfectly. And then, of course, you've got return retreads as well. There's a modern retread. So this return retread, it's got sort of a cove look underneath the edge of it. Let's see if I can get so you've got sort of this cove look that wraps underneath it. The modern retread, on the other hand, go back. The modern retread is a much more modern look. It's also much more basic looking. So, I mean, it literally is just it's like a piece of wood that's right there on the front of it. It's more of a square edge as opposed to a rounded over edge. And it's intended to be a more modern look. But this is a good site to be able to show a customer different details like that before getting into the colors and whatever else. Then, of course, you've got risers. Okay, so that's and they've got nosing and retro nosings and modern nosings and everything else. The finish library, this is where you can go in and see different finishes. So who's the manufacturer? What does it look like? You've got a particular color that you're looking for. All right, so let's see. Have we got sound now?
Arlen, how are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm stepping in for Scott. He's got a meeting and we tried to do this in the studio, but we couldn't get the audio or anything to work out there. So I ran back in here to my office and
All right.
try to get things going here. So.
Well, I'm going to hand this over to you. We've got this is a smaller class. I'll introduce everyone. Michael Forte is in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Roland is up in New Jersey, and Ashley is all the way out in California,
Okay.
Southern California. And then Grant Carter is new here in the corporate office. And I'm going to be quiet and leave you with the screen and let you rock and roll.
All right. Thank you, sir. So first thing that I usually do is I want to pull up kind of a PowerPoint just to get everybody used to stairs, StairTech, and everything that kind of what we do here. I kind of came in on the video and it looked like Arlen was already kind of showing and talking about some of the stuff. So first thing I'm gonna do is share my screen and let you guys see this PowerPoint and talk about the stairs. So, all right, can everybody see my screen there?
We see you.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet.
There we go. How's that?
Yes.
We
Okay.
got you.
Okay, so first slide here, I have Ryan, he's the sales manager. Scott is a core category manager here, and then myself, I'm Kevin. And I kind of help out Ryan and Scott with these trainings, and I do a lot of the custom orders here at StairTech, where there are things that you can't actually quote in OMS that we can do quotes outside of OMS for custom staircases and stuff like that. So first slide I'm actually going to show you here is going to be a box style staircase. So this one is like your most common staircase you can run into out there. It's called a box style staircase because it is enclosed on both sides with these stringers. So in this photo here, we have the retreads. So we have the traditional retreads, which is in this picture, and then we also have the modern style retreads. These retreads, the best way to think about these are it is basically a new covering for the steps. So just like you would cover a staircase with carpet or something, that's what these are. These are all one piece. So a lot of people, what they'll do a lot of times, they'll install a nosing piece and then backfill with floors. That can cause some safety hazards and safety issues if one of those seams was to pop or something like that. And a lot of times the flooring manufacturer won't warranty those. Also, the thing is, when you do these retreads like this, it looks like that was, the way the house was built, and those treads look, I have that one piece design, so it doesn't look like flooring with nosing. So, but this is what your most basic style. There you can see the nosing up top. This could be the second floor or a landing. The next style we have here would be your left return staircase. So this staircase is open to the left side. You can see they have the finished return ends on this side. So the you would need to quote the left return treads on this. And then the exact opposite of that would be the right return tread. So this open on the right side, you would need that right side finished on these treads. And then the last one is going to be your double return treads. So this is one of those open staircases that you need both ends finished. So the important thing on these double return treads is actually this throat dimension. So basically the measurement from here to here is what the most important thing is. That way, when this tread goes to be installed, it slides flush back alongside both of those sides. This one, you can kind of see the bones of the staircase. They pulled off this tread so you can see the actual stringers underneath. This would actually be a box style staircase. So if this tread was still in place like these are, this is where you would quote just the standard retread, the traditional, that has that traditional style scotia, or you could quote the modern style. And then we do have those in pre-finished hardwood, unfinished wood, and then also we have those available in the laminate line. So to match those LVT and vinyl floors. Here's kind of what one of those retreads looks like. So this is the modern style. So you can see it's got that square nose design on it, and then going back, and then primed white risers behind it. Here is kind of the glue pattern for when you install these retreads, or the installer or customer installs them. So it'd be the glue behind the nose there, and then along the back, and then that zigzag pattern. And the one thing you want to make sure doesn't ever happen is using a water-based adhesive. So you want to use a urethane-based adhesive to install the treads and risers. If not, this will happen. This can happen basically overnight. They can be installed. Next day, the customer can wake up and say, what happened to my stairs? So make sure you're using urethane-based adhesive when you do those installs. So does anybody have any questions so far on any of what I just went through there?
Nope.
All right. So since that went so well, I'm going to get into OMS. Arlen, I believe you were showing them our actual StairTech website, weren't you?
Yeah, just to sort of show them how that website can be used to discuss terminology with the customer.
Yep, exactly. That's a great point. And then I also wanted to bring up, since you were on that to start, so you guys were on here. So you have the different stair parts, which I think when I finally logged on, you guys were kind of looking at some of the different products. So all of this is you'll be able to find all this stuff in OMS. But yes, this is a good resource to have, and you can pull this up and show the customer when you're in the house. You do have the finished library, of course, the laminate library, but all this will do in OMS on the back end. And then, of course, the reset source page here is a good little handy tool. It shows you the different species we have. And then this page right here is really helpful. So when we get into some of the more complicated things in OMS, like the starter treads, which when you do this in OMS and I show you how to do it, it's really quite simple, but you can pull these PDFs up and then you can fill in these dimensions, which will help you out when you're doing the quote in OMS. So if we look at this one here, so this is probably what we'll end up quoting in OMS. So you'll need a few dimensions on here, and then we can do the quote when we're in OMS. And then the last thing on this resource page is our installation video. And I know that guy. So we did this install. It is on our resource page, and then it's also on YouTube. So if you look it up on YouTube or you see it on our website, it gives you a lot of good points about how to measure. We did a box style staircase, so it shows you how to measure, how to actually cut and use the tread tool and all that kind of stuff. So it's got a lot of good information on our website itself, but we're actually going to be doing the stuff in OMS. So let me get back to that one. Where's that? Oops, I got too many. Sorry. I was prepared on my laptop in the other room, so. Demo mode. There we go. Okay, so this is what OMS is going to look like when you guys log on. So you'll have the contact information for customer service and then our phone number here. So we're in Erlanger, Kentucky. We're in the Eastern time zone. So we're usually here Monday through Friday. Nicole or Emily gets here probably about 7:30. So usually somebody's here Monday through Friday from 7:30 till 5 or 6 Eastern time. You can always reach out to the customer service email there, and tells you here that OMS works best with Chrome. And then if you do have something that we don't have set up in OMS, like a pre-finished hardwood tread or something like that, and you guys want to get a quote, there's our shipping address. If you just reach out to us and email us, we do have a form that we like to put with some of those emails. It just asks for a little bit more information. So, you know, who you are, what we're quoting and that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that. It just kind of helps expedite the process a little bit. So just some good points up there in that left corner. Down here, you can see a bunch of different colors and floors. We could scroll through this forever trying to find something, but we're actually going to use this blue tab here in a minute. Also, when you're doing the quotes, it'll show up here as a recent quote. And then once you place that quote and you turn it into an order, it'll show up over here on this side. So I'm actually going to go in and we'll start doing a quote. Again, does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
All right.
Don't think so.
So here you see the different floors. So you got the unfinished, that's pretty easy to do. That's basically just quoting a species that somebody's looking for. They're gonna stain or finish it themselves. Here is the natural. So this would be basically, it's got our coating on it. So our coating for both our pre-finished treads and our natural treads and our laminate treads is actually an aluminum oxide based UV cured coating. So both of those are coated with a similar product. So the natural and pre-finished hardwood treads with that coating, they come with a 25-year residential warranty. And then the next step are laminate treads that we have with the coating on there. Those actually come with a 30-year residential warranty. So just a nice little thing to know about both products. So I'm actually going to go in and start doing a quote on the pre-finished hardwood treads. So just like on our website, you have all the different floors that you can look at. You can filter it by manufacturer. So all the different manufacturers here that we have available, collections, you can see the different collections. You can sort it by sheen, and then you can always sort it by species. What I would recommend is sorting it by manufacturer. That'll get you the results you're looking for, probably the quickest. So if you know who the flooring company is, you can always put that in there, and then you should be able to find what you're looking for. So I'm actually just going to go in here. I'm going to pick this one. Start the quote. There you'll see you got the thumbnail there. So this kind of gives you an idea. That way you can make sure that you're looking at the right thing and you're about to build a quote for the correct product. So you'll see 7 pages worth of stuff here. Don't let that intimidate you. You're mainly going to be focused on a couple of different things. So we'll filter this out for now. So you got your regular tread, your risers, your traditional retreads, and then the modern style retreads. So the box tread here, as we refer to it, is basically a 1-inch tread. This is typically used in new construction. So it's that 1-inch thick tread. It does have that rounded bull-nosed edge on it. So this would be new construction, or if somebody actually stripped their existing treads off of their staircase, you would have to put this in because the retreads are only 5/8 thick. They wouldn't support that weight. So these, like I said before, are just a covering for your existing staircase. So there you can see the risers, and then of course you have the return treads. So these have the finished edges like I showed on the PowerPoint, and then it would be the same thing with the modern and the traditional style retreads that have the finished edges on these other pages. So I'm actually going to start off with just a regular retread. So I'm going to click here. And then here you can see the tread. And then here's kind of a line drawing of it. So you see the 5/8 thick, and then that nosing that hangs out. And then that's how actual deep it is from the top to the bottom of that, scotia. The depth is not filled in right here because you can actually adjust that. Our pre-finished hardwood treads, you can go up to 18 inches on these. So first thing I'm going to do is actually select the length. So we'll just do 36 since that's the most common size. And then here you can see you can go up to 18 inches on these retreads. So it would go from here back to here. That would be 18 inches. That's probably not very common. You can do it. But 11.5 is going to be your most common size. Now, when I say 11.5 is from here to here. When you're in the field, you have to take into consideration the thickness of this nosing is 1 inch. So the bottom of this tread, when you put this on an existing staircase, it's only going to be 10.5 inches from the backside here to this side here. So if you measure that staircase or that tread, and it's 10.5 inches, the existing tread, then our traditional 11.5 will cover that. If you have 11.5, it would have to be 12.5. We don't have everything updated yet in here, but we can always make those adjustments on the back end if you need to. But if you do need something deeper and you get 13 inches, you can always rip the back of that tread off. It's better to err on the side of caution, in my opinion, and get them a little bit deeper rather than leave it short. But I'm just gonna stick with the 11.5, and then there, the thickness, you can't change that. So, and then on this, you can see that this floor, sorry, this floor has some required textures. So it has the light resol and the medium wire brush. So the resol, on some of these, you can deselect. The resol is not going to have a huge effect on the color of the tread. The wire brush will. So the wire brush basically is going to open that grain. So on some of these floors, we have to do a grain color, or it just has like darker grain. So when they do the staining process on it, it goes down into that tread, since we wire brushed it, and gives those gives that grain the darker color that it needs to match the floor. So now that we know that, we can add these to the cart. Most of your staircases out there are probably going to be 12 treads. So I'm going to do a quantity of 12. What you see here on this price is your price to the customer. So you guys know that that when you're doing this, you can actually build this right there in the home with the customer, and they can see this, and you're not showing them behind the curtain or anything like that. So I'm going to add these to the cart. And then I'm going to go back to stair parts. So even though I'm going back to stair parts, you can see I have those retreads that I added to the cart. We're still in this same quote. So there you can still see that flooring right there. I'm going to actually want to add some risers to this. So here you can see it defaults to a stained riser. So it defaults to that same color that we had the retreads on. And then you can select prime white right here. So if we wanted to go with the primed white, it would change over the stain right there. Again, on either one of these, you can select the length. The height, you can go up to 8.5. After you need something taller than 8.5, that's where you would have to reach out to Scott, Ryan, myself, and then we could do an actual, what would be considered a custom quote that we would send you a PDF for something like that. I'm going to select the prime white just because that's kind of the way the trend is going right now. A lot of people are doing the primed white with the stained treads. Again, we're doing 36. As you can see, no texture available because it's just a primed white. And then I'm going to add 13 because typically on a staircase, you're going to have one more riser than you do treads. So I'm going to add these to the cart. And now that I have these added to the cart, I'm actually going to go look at the cart. And here you can see, here's what the quotes right now, the quote number is. Here's those retreads that I put in the cart. And then here's those white risers. So now that I have those in the cart, it gives you an estimated production time. So you can see that right now it's currently 10 days. And then you can see the grand total. We don't have shipping selected yet. So now we have to select the shipping type. So on pre-finished hardwood treads, I usually recommend shipping at LTL. Yes, it's more expensive, but we see far less damage when you ship these LTL than if you do ground. The pre-finished hardwood treads can get pretty heavy for those FedEx workers. So they do get dropped and everything else. So I would select the FedEx ground because that's going on one pallet and just getting moved from truck to truck to get to you guys. So I'm going to select the FedEx LTL, and then you can see it changes from production date to estimated delivery days. So of course we don't have control of that. That's just kind of what FedEx tells us it's going to take. So just bear that in mind when you're doing this. We can't guarantee the delivery. FedEx has control of it after that point. But so we have that in the cart right now, but I actually want to go and do some laminate. So does anybody have any questions? All right, so I'm gonna go back to the home page. And then I'm still in the same quote. I went all the way back to the home page, but I haven't saved those 2 line items as a quote. So it's still in the cart. I'm still in the same quote. Even though I hit start quote, I'm doing the same quote. So I'm gonna go to the next step, laminate treads. And then I'm gonna pick, let's just go with this. So I'm gonna start quote there. And it's the same way. You have the manufacturers that you can select from to find the floor, which is usually the best way to do it. And then again, you can see that thumbnail of this floor right here. So like I said before, our next step laminate treads have that 30-year residential warranty. And then I think you can still see me. Here's actually what that laminate tread looks like. So that's the traditional style. So as you can see on these laminate treads, we have a poplar, solid poplar nose right there, and then the MDF tread itself. So on these laminate treads, we wrap them with that aluminum coated vinyl. So you can see right here where it wraps around the back side of the tread. And then on this side, it wraps all the way around under that nose. So that's the traditional style. And then this one here is the modern style. So this has that square nose look. So this actually hangs down 2 1/4 inches. So it's really good to cover dimensional lumber. So if you have a customer that has dimensional lumber, and then this one's basically fabricated the same way. It's that poplar nose and that MDF blank, and then again, wrapped all the way around. So those are the 2 laminate treads that we have. So we're gonna do a quote on this right here, right now. So I'm actually gonna select this modern tread. And then on some of these laminates, we have a 3D modeler, so you can actually zoom in and look at the tread and the grain, show the customer, you can let them kind of move it around, take a look at it and everything like that. So it's a neat little feature that we have. So I'm going to quote this again. We're going to stick with that 36-inch. On this, we cannot change the depth on our laminate. So on our laminate treads, because of machine restrictions, these are always going to be 11.5. And then we only go up to 48-inch currently on the laminate treads. We've had some discussions of possibly going up to 72 inches. We're still trying to work that out and see if our supplier will be able to get us those. So we would actually be able to do longer lengths than what we currently do. And then the depth's always going to stay the same. We can't change that. And the thickness is always going to stay the same. So here you can see the price of that laminate tread. Again, this is the customer's cost. This is not our cost to you. So again, I'm going to do 12 treads. I'm going to add these to the cart. And then I'm going to go back to stair parts. And I'm actually going to do some risers to match this time. So 36. Again, you're not going to be able to change that height. And the thickness is always going to stay the same. I'm going to do 13 of these. I'm going to add these to the cart. Now I'm going to go to the cart. Okay, so we still have those pre-finished treads in here with the poplar white risers. And then we have the next step modern treads right here, and then the matching risers. So you can see our estimated delivery time, since we already selected our shipping type as LTL, is still on there. So I'm actually going to edit this cart a little bit. I want to do the laminate treads. So I'm going to remove the pre-finished hardwood treads. And then I think I'm going to stick with those white risers with the laminate treads. So I'm going to get rid of the laminate risers. So now I have these laminate treads with the primed white risers, 12 and 13. You can see the grand total here. Still has the LTL shipment. If I wanted to change this, because I'm going with those laminate treads, which are lighter and easier for FedEx to move around, I can always change it. And then I can select ground for this one. And then there you see that date changed again because I selected the shipping. So goes to that 17 to 21 days. So now that I have everything in here and I want to save this as a quote, I hit save quote. I'm going to put in my initials. Put in my initials again. And then I'm going to save this. So right here, you can download it as a PDF, or you can hit save, and then you can download it as a PDF right here again. If you want to leave a copy with the customer, I'm just going to hit OK. So now you can see that we did that quote. It shows up right here on the recent quotes. So we do the quote, customer likes the quote and everything like that. And then we want to place this as an order. I would click on the quote here. Here you can see it. Again, you can always print it out right here, download it as a PDF and print it out. So the customer said, yes, let's do this. This modify quote, submit order is the same button. This is just one big blue button. So if I click this right here, what it's going to do is basically going to take me back to the cart that we were in before. So everything looks good. We're going to stick with the FedEx Ground. So now I'm going to submit this as an order. So I click the green button right here. And then it's already got my initials. And then, you can put the customer email, customer phone number. I'm just going to put in test. And then I'm going to submit this. And now that I submitted this, it'll take us back to the home page again. Once I hit OK. And then let me refresh it. It should pop up right here. There it is. So now it's in here as an actual order. So you can see processing. Then you would be able to check on the status of this. You would see in production. You can see when it ships. And then, of course, I would hope you would know when it gets delivered. But yeah, so that's pretty much how to do a quote in OMS. I do want to show you one more thing. And I always tell everybody, like I said before, when we did that, when we were looking at the resource page on our website here, and we were looking at these templates, I think we picked out this right starter tread. So we're actually going to quote one of these real quick. It's very easy to do. You can see in this picture, you got the right starter tread here, and then underneath it, you have the starter riser. So this is made to match. You can do it in with a veneer, or you can do the primed white as well. So we're actually going to do this in OMS. So like I said, this is going to be the most complicated thing you can do. So we're going to go to the pre-finish. When I say complicated, it's not bad at all. So go back here. There it is. We're going to scroll down, and I pulled up the right starter tread. So I'm going to click on the right. We're going to want this one. That's the one we were looking at. So just like that PDF showed you, same things right here. So there's the dimensions we need to be able to quote this. And here's kind of what it's going to look like. So it even tells you how to measure and everything. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do some simple measurements on this. Let's go with a 60 overall length. So that's this overall length. You can do 1/8 inch increments if you need to. I'm not going to. The throat is going to be this dimension right here. So we're going to do let's do a 48 throat. Again, you can select the different 1/8 inch increments. Turnout depth is going to be basically the width overall of this tread. So we'll go with 15. And then the tread depth right here, we'll go with 11. And then thickness is going to be 1 inch thick on these starter treads. I'll hit live preview. This is what that tread will actually look like, looking at it from the top down. So you can say, okay, yep, that's right. I put all the measurements in. So that tells you here, because we got resol on it. Resol only available up to 13 inches. Find out more by clicking here. So this is basically going to tell you this is not going to have resol. As I said before, with the resol, that is not required to achieve the color. The medium wire brush would be. So I'm okay with that. So not gonna let me do it. Ah. Okay. So let's change this. We'll do 13. 10. Okay, there we go there. Okay, there you can see the price. Again, this is the price to the customer. I'm gonna hit add to cart. And then once I add this to the cart, right here, this is the really nice thing about OMS. So like I said, you want that starter riser to match that starter tread. So it gives you this suggested item. When I click on this, so I say yes, I want the suggested item. As you can see right here, it's all grayed out and it says auto configure dimensions. So by clicking this, it's going to match. It says, do you want to match to this right starter tread that you just added to your cart? I'm going to say yes, match that. And then again, you can hit the live preview, but I'm going to hit add to cart. Now let's go to the cart. So what OMS does is it does all the math and figures everything out to match this with this. So if you notice here, the dimensions are going to be a little bit different. That's because this tread needs to overhang this starter riser. So it does all that, does all the numbers for you. So as you can see with the turnout depth, the difference on the turnout depth, and then the difference on the depth of the actual tread itself. So that is the hardest thing that you can quote or do in OMS. And it's not that hard if you have all the dimensions and all the numbers you need. You can do it just as quick as I just did right there. So, does anybody have any questions?
What's involved in, this is all good stuff. What's involved in making sure that we get accounts set up, that we get the order flow process, somebody's ready to buy, you know, can you walk us through sort of the commercial side of this?
Yeah, so to get set up, basically, if you email, usually Scott and Ryan take care of that. They'll get you guys set up in OMS, and then they'll send you a login and everything like that. I believe it says reset your password. It's just the way that it goes out. So basically, you would reset your password to whatever you want, and then you're able to log into OMS and then start doing your quotes. So it's basically just sending an email to Scott or Ryan or customer service. They can always pass it over to them or us to get it set up.
Can you share their email addresses again, or that first
Yeah.
slide?
Yep. Go back here. Sorry. I don't think I have Ryan or Scott's on here, but Scott's is S Brown, but you can always send it to me as well, and then I can get it over to them. Share my screen again. See it there?
Yep, thank you.
Alan, I think I sent you this PowerPoint a while ago, didn't I? Or Arlen?
I've got some of it. I don't think I
Okay.
got all. You sent some of the stuff.
Some of it. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you email me, Ryan, you know, or we can always get with Scott if Scott needs to set it up or whatever, but yeah, that's the main thing, is just getting it set up in there. And then once we get you set up, I mean, anytime you guys have any kind of questions or anything, even if you're at a customer's house, like I said, I mean, we're here from 7:30 to 5 Eastern time. If you need to call us or jump on a Teams call or a Zoom call or whatever, you know, just to get some questions answered or help building a quote, you know, feel free to reach out to us to have us help you out on that stuff.
What are your typical lead times?
On the wood side's usually between 5 and 10 days. The laminate side, right now, we kind of have a backlog of some orders, so the laminate side's a little longer right now. On the laminate treads, we do offer left, rights, and double returns on those as well. those do have a longer lead time currently. So we have, it's all handmade right now. That is actually hopefully going to speed up here soon. We're looking at some automated machines to make the laminate return in process a lot faster than what we're able to do now. I believe they got a part coming in that they're going to try out on one of the machines. And then if that works, it's going to go to a machine manufacturer to make some custom machines for us so we can get through those faster. So I think right now the lead time on the laminate return ends is 2 or 3 weeks, just because of the backlog we have on those. But the pre-finished hardwood, they're pretty much shipping on time right now. I have some more questions. Come on. Am I just that good? I think that's what I think. I think I'm pretty good.
All right, well, if there's nothing else for Kevin, I'm going to let him jump off and we'll continue on for just another minute or two. Kevin, I appreciate your effort to jump on here and pinch hit for Scott. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't do it in the studio. I wish you guys would have. Looks a lot cooler than my office does. So.
Right.
All right, you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Kevin.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right. So just a couple more things. So remember, so you've got the StairTech website, and you can jump on the StairTech website, and you can even do it in the home if you want to, and you can come up with a really, really detailed price. And if it's 16 stairs, just take the 16, whatever the price is, and divide it by 16 and update your total here. So just think of this, what shows up in the tablet, just think of this as a placeholder. That's it. All you're really trying to do in the tablet is get to a total number anyway. So, you can change the verbiage here to say LVP treads or laminate treads or whatever you need to do. And then whatever your install price is, freight, you can pull right off of his quote. It's clearly not going to be $3.58. But you can pull it right off of his quote and just use what's in the tablet as a placeholder and then plug in the numbers that you need to plug in. All right, so homework, writing a laminate proposal. I'd like for you to write a proposal for laminate and put hardwood on the stairs. So don't worry about trying to do laminate on the stairs, but I want you to at least be able to navigate, whether it's StairTech website or if you choose to use somebody else, that's fine. But I'd like for you to sort of work through, what does it mean to be able to put together a price if I was going to do laminate on the floor and then hardwood on the stairs. So I don't want you to freak out about laminate on the stairs yet. As before, create your customer in Salesforce, drop it down to the tablet as an appointment, and see what difficulty you run into when it comes to, okay, now I want to do stairs, right? Because this is going to be fairly common. Doing things like showers and tile on the wall and backsplashes, those are things you can easily kind of walk away from, but you really can't walk away from stairs. So this is a good opportunity to just sort of walk through that. Another piece of homework, and I know like Michael and Roland, you haven't gotten your samples yet. Roland, do you know if, I think Bruce is maybe shipping them early this week. Do you have your mobile samples yet?
I do not.
I think he's shipping those maybe early this week. I saw him this morning. He was rushing off to the warehouse. So I'm hoping that that's what he was doing. And then Michael, if you've got your van lease squared away, it might even be that you could get to, with Bruce this week and get a van picked up.
Yeah, hopefully as soon as I hear back from them that I cleared the credit process and everything, I'll do that as soon as I can.
So as soon as you guys get the samples, you're going to want to rip into them and start working through this process. What do all my hardwoods look like? What do all my LVPs look like? What do all my laminates look like? Carpet we'll get to next week. There's a lot of carpet samples. I've saved carpet for last because carpet brings in seaming and some other technical things versus hardwood, LVP, and laminate, which are much easier to deal with. So for this week, you've got one more easy one, and that is laminate and stairs. You guys were all here, but there's your code word for the day, the night I punched Russell Crowe. Your next, actually, this is actually very close to where you are. The original, the origins of this song happened not too far from where you are. So there's some history there. Your next boot camp call is going to be Thursday, and that's going to be with Jalen, and I think Ryan is going to jump on that as well, where you're going through technology certification. It's nothing more than what you guys have been doing. So this is going to be a breeze for you. You've already been creating customers. You've already been putting the information on the tablet and syncing it back up. The technology certification is going to be a breeze because you've already practiced this over and over again. And that's it. Any questions for me before we jump off? And actually, I did send you the seaming diagram for that one customer. Pull that up. So this is down the road, I'll show you how to use this tool. But I essentially redrew your drawing, taking the dimensions that were in Salesforce and came up with a seaming diagram. And I sent you a screenshot of this so that you've got it.
Okay. Yeah.
But according to this, you would have like about a 13% waste factor, and you would be ordering, if you ended up landing the job, you would end up ordering about 79 feet of carpet. So the fact that you got it quoted at an 18% waste, that's fine. I wouldn't hesitate to leave it just exactly where it is. Leave it with an 18%, and then that gives you a little bit of buffer. If you need a little buffer somewhere, you've got it. It's not huge. You've got a little bit of a buffer, and then you can order 79 feet of carpet. And if the installer cuts it this way, everything fits beautifully.
Okay. Do you have, well, I guess two questions. One is, I assume you share a seaming diagram like this with the installer to show them kind of where you want the seams. Yep. Okay.
I take a screenshot either of this, or if you do it in the tablet, there is a way to just export the PDF right out of the tablet. So that's simple. Okay. So if you run the seaming diagram in the tablet, you can do it that way. This is an external version of that. So what you have in the tablet is what I call Measure Square Lite. It is Measure Square, but it's just it's a very limited version of it. You don't have the ability to do a bunch of funky stuff. This is the full-blown version of Measure Square, and we will get to the full-blown version of Measure Square down the road. We don't do that before launch. We will get to that after launch. But this, you end up having to redraw it by hand. There's not a way to simply import the drawing into Measure Square. But I mean, it takes 5 minutes to draw it. If you've already, it's not like you're walking around the house again. It's easy to come in here and draw. And this allows me to turn seams and do some things, like if some of this were upstairs and some of it were downstairs, I could put some of it one direction and some of it a different direction, or, and play with it. This also, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to ask about carpet cushion and what you want to allow for waste for that.
So with carpet cushion, you've measured, if I read this, what you've measured here is 91.4 square yards. That's what's an actual measure. What you're going to end up ordering is closer to 105 square yards. But what's actually measured here is 91 square yards. Mm-hmm. Carpet cushion, I would probably order, especially if this is a cushion that comes 30 square yards to a roll, I'd end up buying 3 rolls, which means it's a little less than this, right? So I would end up ordering less than this number, because your carpet cushion doesn't even go all the way to the wall. It stops before the tack strip. So especially one like this, I'm not going to give them a waste factor. And in fact, I might even cheat them out of 1.5 yards of carpet, and the installer will make it work.
Okay.
Carpet cushion, I'm not worried about seams. I don't care.
Right.
They're going to put the carpet cushion under it. Nobody sees seams. It's not a problem. And so, and there's going to be little areas where they're going to put little, like in this closet, they can patchwork the carpet cushion in the closet. It doesn't matter.
Right. Okay. I wasn't sure because the system auto-populated just a matching waste factor, that 18%. So I was
Yep.
sure I wasn't.
You won't need it. Carpet cushion, depending on the cushion, Some of them come 20 yards to a roll, some of them come 30 yards to a roll. So you don't get to order 42 yards of carpet,
Got it.
carpet pad, if you do with carpet. You order it by the roll. So depending on which carpet pad you get. Now, if it's a 20 square yard roll, then yeah, I'm going to have to order 100 square yards because I can't cheat 11 yards out of this, right? But if it comes 30 in a roll, I can cheat that last 1.5 yards, and I can absolutely get away with 90 square yards with this.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, thank you so much for
And
doing
you
that. for
notice,
me.
and you notice I'm looking at the covered area, not the area with. I'm not looking at this 104. That's crazy. No, I'm looking at just what was measured.
Yep, okay.
So
I also noticed, Arlen, just in case you didn't realize this, in the labor survey results, I was going back to try to figure out where that 35 cents a square yard came from, that super low number in my list. And in that, I'm assuming it comes from this labor survey. And it's kind of confusing the way they set it up because they ask for square foot cost for removal of carpet. So it looks like some respondents responded with a square foot answer and some responded with a square yard answer.
Right.
So that's what makes sense, because if you multiply 0.35 by 9, then that's a more reasonable rate, right?
Right. Yes, it is. But the way that your price list is set up is your price list was copied from somebody else.
Yeah.
And I don't
Right,
know
so
who that
that's
was.
probably it. I'm assuming it was Jocelyn because her numbers look like mine.
Okay, then
so-
yeah, probably so. Which
Okay.
tells me that Jocelyn's removal is probably too low.
Right.
All right, guys.
For
Well,
um
if-
for
yeah,
for like
Michael.
for like runners that are on stairs, is that covered under stairs or carpet or
So what I would do with a runner is I would simply, like in the tablet, I would say I'm putting carpet on the stairs.
okay.
And then it's going to give you enough carpet to do what you need to do for a runner.
Okay.
Now, the only catch with that is, like, if you need to bind the edge, so you can just do a stair runner where you simply tuck the ends, tuck the sides underneath,
Mhm.
and that's it. You don't bind it. But if you're specifically looking to have it bound, then you might need an extra cost, or you would need an extra cost for the binding.
Okay.
But in terms of, I need to make sure I have carpet and I need to make sure I have install, I'm just going to say I'm putting carpet on the stairs.
That's just like carpet. Okay.
Arlen, this customer yesterday asked if there's extra carpet left over, if we could make like a, entryway rug for them, or like a carpet runner that goes over the carpet. For something like that, I'm assuming we would just price it out by a local binder fee,
You would,
right?
yeah, you would. But now,
Okay.
so like, I take a look at this seaming diagram. This is the way this is going to end up getting cut. I just zoom in here. So I want you to imagine, if you will, that this is a roll of carpet that's been rolled out on the driveway. And now the installer is going to come and he's going to cut it right here. And that's going in this living room. That's that big piece that goes in the living room. And then this is the big piece that goes in the office. So I've got about an inch worth of, a couple inches worth of scrap up here. And then I've got this little weird piece of scrap here. And so as I'm walking across here, I've got another little weird piece of scrap here. This it's not that big. So I might have here, there might be a little piece that I could do. And this is probably my best possible piece. And this looks like it's going to be about 3 feet wide. And maybe about, this might be a little 3 by 3 square. That's probably the biggest piece of scrap you're going to have.
Okay.
So it's not usual to end up with a big piece of scrap to be able to do some sort of entry rug. Now, if 3 by 3 is a good enough entry rug for them, then sure. that little 3x3 piece can be bound and off you go.
Okay.
But that's
All right.
probably that's, you know, I look at a seating diagram like this is pretty tight. Unless you specifically want to create an area rug for them, okay, then that's different. Now I'm going to purposely order more.
Okay. And if we wanted to order, we would just add to the proposal. I know you showed us this last time briefly, but it's just add to the proposal, add area rug, and then you just put in like a square foot measurement.
Yep. Or if you're going to do it out of the same carpet, in this particular case, if I specifically wanted to say, I want to make sure I have a 4x6 area rug left over, well, then I would create another room and make the room 4x6.
Got it. Okay.
Right. And that forces that amount of space to be reserved in the carpet.
For the rug. Okay. Cool.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I will see you tomorrow for Inspired Sale, and we're getting closer and closer. And Michael, I don't know if you're available. Maybe we'll see you tonight.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but I'll try to make it work.
All right.
Arlen, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
With the week 2 training,
Mm-hmm.
so I completed it all, but it won't go past 90%. And there's one of the modules that won't go all the way. I pushed all the bars in the video to make sure it was at the end, and it just wouldn't register. So
Yeah, there's ghosts in the system, and unfortunately, I mean, it's a pain in the butt because I get asked the same question over and over and over again, and I can't figure out how to make it go to 100%, and I don't have the power to just force the number to be that way. So, you know, don't let it worry you. Just keep on trucking. But I know that like the LVP, even I can't do it. I know that like the LVP one in week 2, even though it tells me I've got, you know, this says that it's in progress. I come here, this tells me that I've got 7 of 7 completed. I'm all good,
Right.
but then it won't do anything else. I can't get it to do anything else. And it's just, I don't know, it's a weird bug in the system.
all right, it just tweaked my OCD piece. It's like, God damn it.
This is where you don't let good get in the way of being great.
All right, sounds good.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Too.